Hello everybody, Willing Dunn here. Today I wanted to give you a brief update on the channel and talk about some of the things I'm planning on doing in the future and get your feedback on that. The last time I did one of these videos, we were celebrating 1,000 subscribers on the channel. That was about 10 months ago. And now we're over 2,800. I'm thinking it's pretty realistic that it'll be over 3,000 in a couple months. Before we talk about the new content, I'd like to make a couple of announcements. First of all, I was on the Booted Dudes podcast about a month and a half ago. This is a podcast that covers Doomtown Reloaded. Their normal format is to have a section that they call the Flesh, where they talk about kind of the story aspect of Doomtown. They usually go through some detailed information on some aspect of the story, usually drawing from sources from the role-playing games or other associated material. Then the second half is usually about what they call the bones, which is kind of the mechanics-driven stuff. So a lot of times they go through like an area of the card pool and kind of evaluate different cards or talk about how to build certain decks. In episode 7, where I was a guest, Michael, Hans, and I talked about draw structures in Doomtown. And I think we went through it in a lot of detail and we had some really interesting and really productive conversations. So I would really recommend checking this out if you have any interest in Doomtown. I'll put a link in the description box below. Last time I did one of these update videos, I said that I was going to try to do about one video a week. And I think over the last few months, I've been pretty good about that. But there has been a few real-life things that have slowed me down, and there have been a few weeks where I haven't had any content. I'm going to really try my best to get about 3 videos a month, and I'm considering a 2-part video to be just one video. I'm going to do my best with that. I started a new job at the end of last year that I think was a huge speed bump for me, but now I'm starting to get kind of settled in, and I'm hoping that I can kind of get back down to the release schedule I've promised. Speaking of new content, I want to talk a little bit about the stuff I have planned going forward. I spent a lot of what I've been doing over the last maybe 6 months kind of more focused on experienced player stuff. The core set series was definitely more intended for experienced players. So I'd kind of like to go back, especially at the beginning of this new tournament season, and do some kind of new player stuff. I've been thinking about different types of new player series and kind of overviews I could do, and I have a huge list of good suggestions that have come from the comments section of my videos. And having reviewed that and thought about this quite a bit, the series that I'm thinking about doing is kind of a continuation of my deck overview videos, but instead of them being specific to like a new tournament viable competitive deck, instead I'd like to talk more about archetypes of decks. So I might, for example, take a look at the Redcoats archetype and start with kind of the old original list, go through maybe some of the history and evolution of the deck, and really focus a lot on the strategy and sort of core concepts and cards that go into the deck. The idea of this series is more to inform new players of the types of decks that exist, rather than providing them with a competitive deck list for a current deck. If you're a new player and you're looking for a good deck list for a tournament, there's a lot better resources than my channel for that. So I would really like to instead focus on some of these big, higher level sort of strategy concepts that are inherent in these different archetypes. I have some general ideas on how to go forward with this concept, but I'd really like your feedback on what you think about this idea, maybe some of the archetypes you'd like to see me talk about, and if you have any ideas on how I should structure the information or the types of things I should include in those types of videos, or maybe if you have any suggestions of people who have done this kind of thing before, please leave me a comment in the comment section below. I wanted to address a question that's come up quite a bit as to how to support the channel. And in the past, I haven't had a whole lot of great opportunities for that, but I'm excited to announce that I have a new opportunity to help support the channel. This is on borntoplaygames.com. They're a new retailer that sells single cards, both for Netrunner and Doomtown. So if you're looking to flesh out your collection, maybe fill in some of those gaps that are in the core set, or if you miss some data packs and there's 1 or 2 cards you'd like to pick up, you can pick up single cards at borntoplaygames.com. I think their prices are pretty reasonable, but you can get an additional 20% off your entire order if you just use the code WillingDone at checkout. And you can share that with your friends, do whatever you like. All you have to do is put in the code WillingDone at checkout. You get 20% off, and I'll get a kickback. Again, that's borntoplaygames.com. The 2 is TO, and I'll put a link in the description box below. There's also the PayPal donation link on my main channel page. It's in the upper right-hand corner. It just says PayPal donation. If you want to send me a few bucks, that really helps. A lot of people have done that, and I really appreciate that. It helps cover some of the equipment costs, getting new hard drives. I've had to replace my microphone. There are some costs associated with the channel beyond just my time, and donations like that really help. Probably the easiest way to support me overall is with the Amazon link. If you buy stuff from Amazon, all you have to do is use my link. You just click the link, you buy stuff, I get a kickback, and if you bookmark that link and just use it as your Amazon link, pretty much every time you buy stuff, I'm going to get a kickback. I know there's quite a few people out there that are doing that. I can see on the report that people are buying stuff. I can't tell who bought what, but I've seen a lot of people buying different gaming products, Netrunner stuff, Doomtown stuff, board games, or just anything you buy from Amazon. If you're still listening, let me just say thank you very much for being a subscriber, for liking my videos, sharing my videos, telling other people about my videos online. I'm absolutely overwhelmed with the amount of positivity and just constructive feedback I've gotten on my videos. It's even to this day really exciting to post a new video and see what everybody has to say about it. I feel like there's been times where I've made mistakes and people have pointed them out and been very respectful and constructive with their criticism, and that's helped me so much. It's also really exciting to see people like my stuff and say really positive things about it after I've spent a lot of time working on these videos. So again, thank you so much for being part of the WillingDone experience, I guess. And I'll be back in about a week with some more new stuff.